Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of FitzRupee Cast featuring DoW2, the Elite Mod. Red-Rupee here calling the shots for you tonight, as always, as we head into this fun 2-on-2 matchup. Earlier this week, we had a pretty fun and off-the-wall 3-on-3 match with a lot of high-level players, so we're dialing it back a little bit. We're going for a 2-on-2 match with some mid-level games here, and we are on Argus Desert Gate, the 2-on-2 version. Actually, let's take a look around the map real quick. We've only got 2 lanes on this particular map. We've got pretty much the same exact lane from the 6-player Argus Desert Gate up top, and then we kind of took off the westmost resource lane, dropped a VP, even the VP's out across the middle, and that's pretty much it. Other than that, very similar to the original Argus Desert Gate. This was put together, of course, by the Renaissance man and fan favorite Indrid, so big props to him for that. This is an Elite Mod only map as well. Anyways, let's take a look at our players before I ramble on too long. We've got FuriouslyOscilating as the Hive Tyrant for the Tyranids, along with ShowmeMagik on the blue team with the very bright yellow Force Commander. Then on the red team, we've got Fico Roberts as the Chaos Space Marine Chaos Lord, very brightly colored as well, and VanguardVinci as the Space Marine Apothecary, looking particularly nasty in that get up there. This is another Elite Mod custom army, I believe, making that Apothecary looking rather mean. We're getting into our first scuffles here as the Force Commander is going to win with his melee prowess against the Apothecary. Apothecary definitely going for more support and utility, but getting knocked almost all the way back to the line of Tactical Marines on this northernmost victory point. Oh man, already looks like Mr. Robert Fico lost himself some Heretics. Heretics, I guess, not going to win against Hormagaunts. I actually thought Heretics would do a little better against Hormagaunts, but apparently it's no contest. Something I guess I just learned from a mid-level game. I rarely actually play either Nids or Chaos, so that's not a matchup I'm terribly familiar with. But I'll keep that in mind. Heretics versus Hormas, that's going to go in favor of the Hormas. Of course, they may have had the basic synapse that the Hive Tyrant offered too. They did miss that engagement, but that should certainly come into play. Something you always have to keep in mind when facing Tyranids. Robert's getting himself a Havoc squad to come back onto the field here, make up for those lost Heretics. Hopefully he will be getting some more Heretics after, because we really need those. Other than that, standard stuff from both the blues. VanguardVinci actually not getting a second scout squad yet. We'll see if that matters. Map control not normally as important in 2-on-2 as it is in 1-on-1, of course, so maybe that second scout squad isn't nearly as much of a necessity as it is in the 1-on-1 games. Taking a look at the power income, looks like about even. The blue side is dropped a little more power at the moment, red team a little more behind. Robert needs to get himself some squads on the field and get some gens down on his farm. He's been focusing a lot. That Chaos Lord doing an excellent job so far, just tying up all these nids, buying a lot of time despite being down a squad this early. These Havocs need to be very careful, though. If they spend this time capping, they're going to allow this Hive Tyrant to get in a better position to approach them. The Hive Tyrant probably could have gotten in on them anyways, but they could have at least bought some time, done some damage to him, and gotten him off the field, something along those lines. Oh, we already have sniper rifles on the field. Oh, for both of ShowmeMagik's scouts, so that's going to be a real pain for the opposing Space Marine. That's one thing that the Apothecary can't do, is heal downed units, so if those scouts can get some good shots down on these Tactical Marines and just knock out a model here and there, there's not much the Apothecary can do about it. So one tack already goes down. Vinci is bringing up some Assault Space Marines, so that's actually going to be an excellent choice as it turns out. With both of those snipers, there's really not too much that ShowmeMagik is going to be able to do about that at the moment. The tacks are already pretty beat up. Now the snipers are not going to be able to take their shots, and they're going to need to get out of there. Very fortunate not to lose a scout model on that already. Of course, once upgraded with those sniper rifles, the scouts do cost power to reinforce, so always something to keep in mind. Once you get those snipers, you want to really minimize your model losses with those scouts, because power is not something you want to come by. You know, you don't want to waste power, that's all. Hormagaunts getting a nice flank in. Always got to keep that in mind with your suppression squads. If melee gets into the pile, you're pretty much done for. Retarget as necessary. You don't have to just let them do their thing. Heretics, oh no, Heretics also in a lot of trouble. Havoc goes down. Heretics might as well. They do. The aspiring champion on the wrong squad in that particular instance wasn't there to keep those heretics alive and make them a lot more durable. That's 3 squads down already for Mr. Robert Fico, and that's going to be very difficult for him to get back into the game against Furiously Oscillating. Hopefully ShowmeMagik can get down here and help him out when the time comes. He's going, both the blues going into Tier 2 already. We do have full farms for, I think, everybody at this stage in the game. Reds are down both in the army size and VPs, not looking too good, considering they're also behind in tech. Normally, if you can trade either victory points for tech off, you know, one for the other off, at some point that's kind of working out, but if you're behind in both, that's not going to be a good time for you. Rudeness down, allowing the Tyranids to reinforce on the field. Really going to be needing to see some teamwork here from the Reds to hold on. I think Robert Fico might be the weaker player on the field at the moment, so always something to keep in mind. If you're the strong player, try to get down there and help out your ally in 2s as much as possible. 2s might be my favorite game type at the moment. I really like, it's a good mix of kind of positional one-on-one gameplay in the early game and then transitions later on into the bigger 2-on-2 team fights, but doesn't get quite as ridiculous or over the top as 3-on-3s get. So I just like, it's a good mix of one-on-one and supporting your ally, and dude, it's, I don't know. I like 2s is what I'm saying. I like 2s. Chaos Lord already has his lightning claws queued up here, but unfortunately for Robert, he went into Tier 2 with only a couple squads. It's something you really have to take into consideration, especially against an army like Tyranids, where they don't have really a rush Tier 2 unit. Like, the worst they can bring out early is kind of a Tyrant Guard, and that's not nearly as bad as I feel like maybe a Death Dread or something along those lines. You can still control that a little bit with just basic Tier 1 squads, so he might have wanted to get something before heading into Tier 2. Luckily, it didn't cost him his entire power farm. He did lose a generator and that node, but it could have been much worse. We've got Force Commander on the field, taking out these Vengeance Rounds Devastators, already upgraded with his Teleporter and Thunderhammer. That's really going to make it a lot more feasible to deal with these Assault Space Marines without any real melee disruption. Unfortunately, moving those scouts a little bit too far forward, wasn't paying attention to that, got him caught by the Dev. Assault Marines scared him off. Down on the bottom side of the map, it looks like Robert doing his damnedest to stay in this fight. One thing he has been doing excellently is stalling out with his Chaos Lord. Nice kill the weak, nice merciless strike follow-up as well, getting the demonic visage. I feel like Robert is kind of misappropriating his resources here at the moment. He's spent a lot on his Chaos Lord, he's spent a lot teching up, but he has very few squads on the field. I think you want to prioritize getting some squads out, especially when you're that far behind, over teching up and buying a lot for your hero. And especially if you're going to invest, you know, in your hero, you really want to get something out of that purchase, and if your hero's down, you're obviously not getting anything out of that spent resources. Fortunately for Mr. Robert, the Tyranid player Furiously Oscillating, playing pretty reserved. I think he could have gotten in there and taken out this gen farm without much issue, but it looks like he's opting instead to go up and try to minimize his own losses on the eastern side of the map. Force Commander teleports in, but takes a face full of Vengeance Rounds. Oh man, I'm not even sure. Let's see, he might, yeah, he's going to get out of there, but it was close. He teleported a bit short. Apparently might have had a little malfunction with his teleport unit there and didn't get where he needed to go. Scout's taking a lot of hits, but there's enough there to force that Devastator off. Vanguard actually purchased this after seeing the 2 Scouts snipers, which is somewhat surprising, I feel like. I think when I see 2 Scout snipers, the first thing I think is not to get a Devastator. But especially considering that ShowmeMagik doesn't really have much in the way of melee forces, I think maybe he's planning on using that to kind of keep control of the Force Commander, because with this infantry-based army, there's, you know, not a lot that he can do if that Force Commander's in his face knocking over his entire army. Oh no! Down goes the Chaos Lord again immediately after getting revived. Apothecary tried to pick him up, but he didn't quite get out of there in time. We've got the Adrenal Gland Warrior Brutes with that strong melee synapse, making these Hormagaunts very difficult to take down, giving them a big pile of extra health. We got the Zone Probe out here as well. 491 to 210 at the moment, and it's looking very strong for the blue team. Reds are really going to have to do something to get into this game. Plasma Devastator up here for ShowmeMagik. He's going for a strong ranged force. He's got the Plasma Dev, he's got Plasma Tax, and he's got those 2 Scout Snipers as well. The Nid Melee pile's completely ignoring the Dreadnought, which is probably the best option, but we finally have a little allied support here, and that's going to put a lot of pressure on the Tyranids. They all fall back, might even, yes, they lose their Hormagaunts. Zoanthrope in a lot of trouble too. That thing just needs to retreat while it has the opportunity to do so. If it gets another whack from that Dreadnought, it's going to be going down. It finally hits the retreat button. I don't think the Dread is going to get in there for the hit. It's just a little too slow, a little too wobbly and stompy. Might be able to finish off one of those Termagants, but doesn't turn to engage in time. 133 to 491, a triple cap for the Blues, and the VPs are quickly ticking away for the Reds. They need to get out here with these 2 Dreadnoughts. I think they might stand a chance to get back into this game. There's little to no anti-vehicle on the field at the moment. Really, all they have is the Zoanthrope and the Plasma Devastator. Of course, the Hive Tyrant was doing a number on this Dreadnought, but he stuck it out a little bit too long and didn't quite do the damage he needed to take it out. That Dread needs to fall back, get a little patch job done by those Scouts. But in the meantime, while pushing the western side of the map, they've lost the entire eastern side. Just about, they lost their power farm, and will be able to capture that natural wreck point pretty easily. Dreadnought getting fixed up here by the Scouts. Might want to get those Heretics on there as well. That thing's just about done. You don't want to catch that thing out of position. Those Dreadnoughts really about the only thing keeping these guys in the game for the moment, as both of the blue players head into Tier 3. The Reds have tried a couple times. Vanguard was doing a good job up top, but didn't manage to get a full Gen Bash, and now they've lost their own generators. So we'll have to see how this is looking as we head into this later stage of the game. Reds do have a grasp on this lower part of the map, and they might just want to stick down here for the time being, as they can pretty easily control both of these victory points just by kind of controlling this middle part of the map. Maybe they can do some ninja capping up in the north for the time being once they draw both players down here. Of course, the smart play would be to leave the Plasma Devastator up there, maybe move it a bit further back and have it watch that eastern victory point. Chaos Dreadnought moving up there, needs to be careful, doesn't want to get caught out of position. Definitely don't want a vehicle, especially something as expensive like a Dreadnought, out there without any support. Meanwhile, the Space Marine Dreadnought looking pretty healthy. We've got the Whirlwind out here as well, going to be providing lots of disruption for the inevitable mid-blob push here. Couple grenade volleys going down there, little autocannon fire, trying to draw the armies back into the Space Marine Chaos fold here. And man, that was a pretty nice let the galaxy burn. Starting the engagement off pretty well. Don't want to stand in that. That does do quite a bit of residual damage after it lands, so you do want to move to actually get knocked back. Definitely don't want to stand around there. Nice Plasma Dev shot, hit the retreat button just in the nick of time. Those attacks are still going to take a lot of hurt from that Force Commander on retreat. Managed to only lose a single model. Both heroes for the Reds running around behind enemy lines, and it looks like ShowmeMagik is finding himself a bit abandoned out here in the middle of the battlefield. Plasma Devastator in a lot of trouble, have both the Chaos Lord and the Apothecary with the Power Axe over there, doing some damage. Apothecary has, let's see what he's got. He's fully kitted out, actually. He's got the Armor of the Apothecarian. He has the improved medical equipment and the Power Axe. So, pretty great. The Armor of the Apothecarian, though, you would expect to see the Apothecary kind of hanging out in the middle of the army, getting that big advanced healing going on, which gives kind of a less bursty but a slower heal throughout all of the units around him. Can be extraordinarily useful in team fights. Meanwhile, we've got some overzealous Assault Space Marines charging in against the Tyranids. That's probably biting off a little more than they can chew. Hopefully they get out of there. Looks like they're going to be able to do it. Chaos Lord dropping another big let the galaxy burn down there, trying to blast away at all of those Termagants. Of course, if he doesn't actually kill any, that Zoanthrope will heal him up right quick. Zoanthrope actually has, if you're not familiar with his synapse, has a synapse that increases the regeneration of all Tyranid units around him. And man, we've got quite a big ranged DPS army right here. We've got the Whirlwind providing supporting fire. We've got the Assault Cannon Dreadnought, the Auto Cannon Dreadnought. Oh no! With the Warp Shot combined with a Twin Link Las Cannon Predator now on the field, makes short work of the Chaos Pred. We've got Noise Marines upgraded with the Blastmaster Dubstep Cannon, and all of the yellow team, or rather the blue team, is moving in here. Blue team very brightly colored. Zoanthrope kind of stuck inside of the Predator. And suddenly, Reds are down 2 Dreadnoughts. That's not looking good for them at all. They had a good run at the map there, but losing a hero, losing both of their Dreadnoughts. Hive Tyrant now doing a big number on them as well. The Reds kind of had a lot of setup teams. They had, I think, 1, 2, 3 setup squads. Lost one of them here. They've got the Devastator. Oh no, the Devastators actually escaped. I thought the Hive Tyrant finished them off before he retreated, so they are looking pretty good. Robert here needs to get something on the field. Look at this huge pile of resources he's sitting on. I know you get focused on the battle here, and I know it happens to everyone. You look down and you're suddenly surprised to see how much resource you have. To get something on the field, man, you definitely need to increase that army size. Don't tech! This is a terrible time to tech. Oh no. Again, something you always have to take into consideration. Ooh, scouts going down to a Whirlwind missile, staying out there a bit too long. They thought they were safe, saw the mass retreat, and then a rocket fell on their head. That's no fun. Whirlwind doing a good job of disruption, but they really need an answer to this Laspred now that's out here on the field. Killer of both of the Dreadnoughts right now. 60 to 302 at the moment. The Reds had a good run trying to get back into this, but it's not looking good for them now. They kind of threw away their big advantage in those 2 large Dreadnoughts. If that unupgraded Chaos Dreadnought had upgraded to Mark of Siege and survived, this would still be a really close game. The Mark of Siege really neutralizes the Predators well. Good job using the stealth scouts here to kind of mitigate that VP lead. It's 23 to 21 and a 2-1 cap, now a 1-0. VP is still ticking off. It's not looking good. Oh, but it evens out. A mere 16 left. And the Reds really need to get something out here on the field. Vanguard's doing well, but his ally needs to build something as soon as he possibly can. Assault Space Marines getting their Sarge upgrade. Here comes a big Imperial Abyss. That's why Robert wanted to go tier 3. He was sitting on a big pile of red and wanted to drop it. Unfortunately for him, though, it was rather ineffectual. Oh no, the Predator's driving right into it. Predator, no! Oh, there's something about these Predator drivers, man. They like driving into those bright lights. Maybe something about their Space Marine training. I don't know what it is. But oh man, this Carnifex actually in a lot of trouble too. Taking Las Cannon shots, taking Blastmaster shots, taking some Vengeance rounds from that Devastator. I'm not sure if it's getting out of there. Suddenly, a little bit of a miracle here. The Reds might be bringing it back from what looked like the jaws of defeat. Carnifex goes down, Predator goes down, and a Land Raider on the way from Robert Fico here. I thought it was just about all over, but they're bringing it back, it looks like. Nids coming back out here trying to do what they can. Really want to get that Chaos Lord off the field. He is level 7. He's been doing some work, man. Apothecary level 3. Everybody else level 3. That Chaos Lord leading the charge. These 2 squads of corrupt Space Marines, one working under Khorne, the other working under the Hive Mind. Poor little Hive Tyrant here. Oh dear, just getting stomped on by some Assault Space Marines. Got a call in over here. Is that going to be some Terminators? Let's see what it is. It's a drop pod. Actually bringing in some tactical Marines. Gonna work out pretty well, actually, just simply because they need to make sure they can get all of those VPs at any given time. They need to start bleeding those off as fast as they can and finish this game while they have the advantage. Furiously Oscilating, also sitting on a large pile of resources. I'm not sure if he was trying to save them for a Swarm Lord there. If he was, he did decide to change his mind and opt for the Carnifex. Land Raider coming out here shortly. Robert really needs to bring some more stuff. I know I've been saying that over and over again, but use those resources, man. That's why they're there. Turn those resources into units, turn those units into VPs. No point in stockpiling in this game, and really most games, most RTS, you don't really want to stockpile resources. You want to get your stuff out onto the field as soon as you can. Force Commander getting pushed off here. And all is quiet for the time being. Reds have the middle locked down pretty well. Might want to spread these setup teams out a little more. They would be susceptible to a Tyranna formation or an orbital strike if it did happen to come down. We've got ShowmeMagik bringing down his own Land Raider, the Land Raider Redeemer, a much more defensive Land Raider. The Phobos over here, of course, sticking with the usual Chaos theme and being a much more higher DPS kind of unit than the Space Marine equivalent. Zoanthrope coming out along with those two squads of Termagants, looking to get some grasp on the map here. These grenade launchers doing some pretty heavy damage to these Warrior Brood. They're pretty much going to have to get out of there, which is unfortunate because they're not going to be able to provide any synapse. Although Oscilating doesn't really have any melee on the field anyway, so I guess that works out for him. Siege falters on these Chaos Space Marines. Robert bringing his Land Raider up to the middle. And the Force Commander facing off against the Chaos Lord. Chaos Lord, I think, definitely does more DPS than the Force Commander at the moment with those lightning claws. And since he's not getting knocked over by those special attacks, he just does not care. Ooh, nice shot from the Zoanthrope there. And the second not the Barb Strangler, the Thornback Carnifex on the field. Not sure about that. Probably wants that Venom Cannon, considering they're these big vehicles. I'm not sure if they've spotted this Land Raider, though, at the moment, so perhaps thinking that the Thornback, rather, is the better choice, considering all of these setup teams out here. Gonna have to approach very carefully, because there is a lot of anti-vehicle between these current squads on the field. Tyranna formation going down here, as there's a triple cap for the Reds, quickly draining the VPs of the blue team, but the blue team's making a combined push here. The Thornback Carnifex in conjunction with the rest of these Tyranids might manage to pick off, yes, and Space Marine squad. One squad attacks goes down. Melta goes down on the Carnifex, though, while the Phobos is still pumping shots into it. And of course, the Whirlwind support squad over there doing some damage as well. The Land Raider's on the field for the Blues, though, and that's going to make it really hard to push them off the map. Will he lose? He almost loses a second model to that Thornback, but that thing's way out of position. I don't know if it's already used its charge or not, but it looks like it has. It looks like he's just going to suicide against the Land Raider, try to get a little bit of damage in before it goes down. Bought some time, however, for the Force Commander to come in with the Power Fish. Less Oversteel lands just a few seconds too late, allowing that Phobos Predator to blast away and finish it off with a few more twiddling las cannon shots. Oh no, but between the Power Fist and another Predator out here, it's not looking too good. Orbital Bombardment going down on the Land Raider, but the Land Raider should be able to get out from under that without too much issue. Predator trying to disrupt the Force Commander, but he's not concerned with that. Activated his battle cry. Predator finishes it off. The Redeemer up top here took a little bit of damage from that Orbital Bombardment, but it looks like it's not going to be enough to dissuade it from sitting directly on top of this center victory point here. Chaos Lord letting the galaxy burn even more, Furiously Oscilating down to very little himself. Both teams really just hammering away at each other as we head into the last bit of this game, but it looks like Blue finally got the cap over here, and the last few VPs are going to tick away for the Red team. Oh, I spoke too soon, too. Well, they get it in time with a single victory point left. Another Imperial Abyss going down on the center, though. I'm not exactly sure what he was intending to hit with that. With these nids, the thing is, you don't really want to drop them when there's nothing going on. You want to have your opponent distracted. You want to stress their micro and then drop it right in the middle of anything where they might not be paying attention, where they might not have the speed to get everything out from under it in time and maybe take out a squad or two. Shrine down here over here, trying to stay up and cause some trouble to these nids, but there's a little bit of heavy melee here, so they're going to be able to make pretty short work of it. Whirlwind supporting fire, still knocking everything around. Has been doing a good job of that all game, but you really do have to make sure you're trying to fire into the pile rather than just kind of letting it fire on its own, because as we just saw, it was kind of firing at this lone squad over here. But instead, it could have been firing into a kind of larger mid blob without number coming down. Oh no, that's just a warrior call in from the Hive Tyrant. I thought it was going to be without number. Space Marine Predator trying to do some work in the middle here, but not quite enough to deal with the opposing Lazpred and Land Raider Redeemer on its own. Nothing up top right now for the red team, which is very bad considering if they get a single cap, the Tactical Marines moving in. That's going to be all she wrote. That would be a great time to drop an Imperial Abyss or something along those lines. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Space Marines hesitate for just a moment. We got the Force Commander and the Predator in the middle. They need to move in on that victory point right now if they're hoping to get anything done here. These attacks with their increased capping speed, gonna get that VP if they kept that at all, and I think they are. That's gonna be the game right there. Reds had one chance to bring it back, and they weren't quite able to do it. GG is dropped, and the last VP ticks away. So, man, I actually thought the red team had a chance to bring it back there at the end, but unfortunately, Robert just should have had a larger army on it. Look at the, wow, 1,800 requisition. Maybe just focused a little too much on the map and made a couple choices early on that I think cost them a bit too many VPs and didn't buy them enough time to get back in it. I think they could have, considering the way the match was going. I mean, Oscilating was down to about nothing. But if earlier game, Robert had used his resources a little more wisely before teching up and that sort of thing, I don't think they would have lost as much map control. And they would have had some more time to get back into this game. Definitely something you always have to keep in mind. When do you tech? When do you rebuy your hero? When do you buy gens? Man, look at how bright yellow this Land Raider is. You could see that thing coming from a light year away. Oh my goodness. Very bright. Anyways, thanks so much for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed the game. This is Red-Rupee. Of course, feel free to like, comment, subscribe to my channel. All that fun stuff I like hearing about the games, hearing what your viewers think. Find me on your favorite social network, all that shit blue over there, and I will be catching you guys next time.